First of all, I do want to thank both Sebastian and Game Arena for hosting me, and also Per for arranging all the travel and accommodations and everything. It's great to be here in Huevde. I think I pronounced correctly. It's not Shovde, right? And hopefully, I'm not getting screaming into this mic the rest of the time. But anyhow, I'm an account director with TriplePoint. We're a public relations agency in San Francisco. Come from far away. But today, as we mentioned, I'm going to hopefully augment what Armin and Sarah presented before. Should have thrown the three of us back to back for this like PR boot camp. But anyway, hopefully we'll hope to have some key takeaways for you guys that you will find of value to you. Pretty much everything Armin and Sarah talked about holds true, and being true to yourself and everything. And this should still apply to everyone, no matter how you go about your PR, whether it's through humor or being serious or whatever it is. So so Sarah touched on sort of the foundations of marketing and gave a really nice overview of that. Armin really drilled, I think, a lot into sort of how that need to engage a formal press and journalists with Goat Simulator, and instead focusing on social media to kind of convey their voice and image as a brand very successfully. And today I want to touch on a couple of things. One, how sort of the media landscape is changing, and it constantly is. As Rami mentioned, just the game industry is constantly changing. Media itself has rapidly changed over the last 10, 20, 30 years, and is going to continue to do so. So we really need to be aware of that. And secondly, I'm going to jump into some of the basic fundamentals and concepts of PR. Again, drilling into some specifics of public relations as a practice, so that you can then apply it to however the hell you want to go about doing your own PR based on the voice that you've created. So first of all, who the hell am I? As I mentioned, I'm an account director, San Francisco. I originally got my start in New York doing some corporate sales marketing stuff, selling BlackBerry software for a telecommunications company. It was really it was a great experience. I learned a lot from it, but probably a little too uptight for me. I grew up a gamer. I loved games. Decided that I wanted to pursue that passion and career. So that's what led me to do some work at Arcadium. I did some business development for them initially, selling Flash games to online media publishers. But then also just sort of found my roots with TriplePoint. In TriplePoint, we've been a video game agency since 2002. We hire in gamers, and we represent primarily video game clients, although we do have a chunk of our business that focuses on various tech as well, and consumer gadgets and stuff. So got my start out in New York, made my way to San Francisco for the sunshine and industry. And I'm also a mentor at Execution Labs, just on the topic of PR. So I've given presentation here and there, but still working on those skills, so take it easy on me. Just some of the clients we represented and currently represent. We're all over the place. I mean, since 2002, we've done everything from massive AAA premium subscription MMOs to free-to-play mobile games of late, from indies. Paradox is one that we've been working with for about 5 years now. Yeah, that's right. Make awesome stuff. And also mobile. Mobile has really grown in significance. I got my start with NTT Docomo, a wireless company, and I brought that mobile experience with me. And we were doing mobile games back in 2005 when we were shipping flip phones to Justin Davis when he was at Modojo. That's how I would review games like Prey and Duke Nukem 3D. And then the iPhone came along, and we basically rode that wave up with it. And there's been a lot of awesome games that we had the privilege of working on. And today, we do a lot of corporate communications because PR can be quite limited in what it can do for a free-to-play mobile game these days, and I'll go into that a little bit later. It's all part of the changing media landscape, and we're changing with it. We have a couple investments as an agency, which I think makes us kind of interesting. We keep an eye on this space. We don't just continue to pitch a stale Excel spreadsheet of reporters and try to charge you guys money for it. That's what a lot of PR unfortunately does. So we'll dig into that a little bit more too. But Roosters is really interesting that I wanted to share. This is ran by Marco Moreau, previously of Gambler out of Boston. Basically, this connects mobile game publishers with content creators on YouTube and Twitch to run CPI campaigns, cost per install campaigns. So it's all performance-based marketing by creating awesome video content, let's play videos and stuff like that. So it's the first of its kind. It only launched a couple months ago, so super excited about that, and it's taking off. Bolo's another thing that our company invested in and really supported the development of. This is online software. You guys can sign up for it for free. It's called Bolo. Go to bolohq.com. It's a media search engine. So again, rather than buying a spreadsheet on somewhere online for $100 and having a bunch of old media outlets and contacts on there that you're going to spam and get bounce backs, and also probably hear back from reporters that don't like you now because you sent them a pitch that's completely irrelevant. But this starts with the concept of do an editorial search with keywords. So based on your game, it's a free-to-play RPG mobile game. All right, well, do that search in there and bring up all the editorial results that contain that keyword. And that's how you target. You do your research online. You find the reporters that are writing about it. If they're writing about it, they're interested. They're probably more than likely want to hear from you if you have something similar. So that's a good place to start in terms of identifying who those targets are. And email addresses, contact information, all that stuff is in there too. So start with the research. Don't start with the list. That's one of my biggest advice for you. And definitely check out Bolo. So here's just a quick overview of the agenda. Again, just talking first about the media and then role of PR and then some of the core fundamentals of PR. Can't go into everything. Don't have enough time. But let's drill into it. So first of all is how media is changing. So this is really kind of first, let's focus on games journalism. At least reputable game journalists in the industry, they do it for the written word because they're gamers and they're passionate about it. And they do it for their audience. They're doing it for gamers. They're not doing it for the company. They're not trying to promote your company. So keep that in mind when you're reaching out to reporters. They have an audience that they have to build and sustain if they're going to generate any ad revenue and get paid, put food on the table. The unfortunate thing is that, especially nowadays with free to play, reporters have lost a significant amount of influence there. I mean, when was the last time you looked up, all right, what's the cool free-to-play mobile game I'm going to play now? It's just not how you go about it. We don't really care what a reporter has to say. If it's, all right, this game is awesome, you should download it. No, we hear about it from our friends and family if we're not being user-acquired, right? We hear about it, about what awesome game should we be playing from those that we actually want to play with. And so, you'll notice these trends. All these mobile game outlets that used to cover news and reviews, they're just falling one by one. They just can't continue to feed themselves and make money, so they're moving on to other things. Case in point, Love Touch Arcade. I'm 100% behind it. Eli's awesome. Go check out and read about the Pantheon. It's a really tough industry to survive and stay alive, and he's very vocal about it. And I 100% recommend go read on that Pantheon and support it. It's sort of a subscription type, donation type thing to keep them alive, really, to creating fair, factual, unbiased reporting. Because many of us, we still do read, we still do want to hear about what a reporter has to say and the stories they tell about the industry that we love, especially in mobile games. If you're in that aspect of it. The other side of it too is, especially with core gaming, for $60 game, I mean, prices are being constantly driven down. That's a whole nother subject matter. But even for a $10 game, we there is still a significant amount of influence there among reporters. We do want to read sort of their hopefully fair, factual, and unbiased review of a game before we actually go buy it. But unfortunately, that's significantly changing too. That will never go away. I think that's going to remain around as long as there's premium games that we want to invest in. But more and more, we're seeing guys like PewDiePie essentially leading the charge. Not everybody could be good looking, sweet, right, with an awesome YouTube channel that has millions of viewers and actually makes a shit ton of money. And good for him too. All the haters. I mean, they can go build their own audience if they want. It takes talent. It really is tough. It's hard work. So I personally respect him for this, and all the other YouTubers that work really hard to build an audience as well. It takes something special to do that. And this is new media. This is something that every game developer should pay attention to, particularly Ghost Simulator. I'm going to go too deep into it, but I'm sure the Let's Play videos were incredibly important for this, right? Screw what a reporter has to say and what their review in that game. The review is going to be bad. It's not the type of game it is, but people sure as hell want to watch it. It's fun as hell to watch. And that's what the videos are all about, and they drive downloads. Especially in driving purchase decisions, why not just go to YouTube and watch the video and watch a quick playthrough to make a decision if you think it's going to be a great game for you or not, instead of trying to read through an article, what a review has to say. So that's just how things are. Put yourself in that situation as a gamer. You as a developer, you're creating a game because it's a game you would love to play, Well, now put yourself in those shoes when you're trying to actually go out and market that, especially from a perspective of PR, how you communicate to people like you that was inspired to create that game. You need to follow those channels, and certainly, Twitch, YouTube is a significant channel for that. The money talks too. I mean, the investments that are going into this. I mean, over $1 billion for Twitch. I mean, Mobcrush is a recent one. If you haven't heard of it, definitely check that out. Apple and Google now heads up the biz dev for them, but it's all about mobile game streaming. So this ought to be really interesting to see how all that pans out, if people care. I already mentioned Rooster, again, about mobile. Maker Studios being bought up by Disney. And they're the agency for PewDiePie and EvanTube and all those guys. If you got 10 million plus subscribers, even 1 million plus, I think these guys will represent you. Machinima also still around, and certainly very important in the space. There was some unfortunate news there, and again, go back to what Rami was saying. Read up on your industry stories. Know what the hell's going on, because this is going to affect you. When you set up Let's Play videos, they sure as hell better put up a disclaimer if you're paying for it, right? Maker just got slapped with an FCC fine because of this. Look that story up and read about it again, because you need to know like who you're working with, making sure they're reputable, they have an audience, and they're actually legit. Now, not saying there were any wrongdoing here. I think there were some mistakes that were probably made, but things are changing. If you're gonna watch a Let's Play video, somebody paid for that placement, you sure as shit want to know. But you still can get those placements by earning it, by having an awesome game and by actually pitching it in. So whether it's working with a reporter or working with a YouTube content creator or a streamer, having the discipline and the practice of PR down so you can actually communicate using the right channels is going to help ensure that you take advantage of the opportunities you possibly can. So moving on. So another way that I feel that really media has changed is, I mean, you guys have the power of engaging people directly. I mean, both Chris and Armin really drill in on this. Find your voice. Lock down sort of the basics of the PR, your messages, and who you are. What is the brand that you want to convey? What does your future look like? And go out and you take advantage of these channels, 100%. So Armin may not have used Reddit as much, but certainly Reddit's important. Talking with some game journalists, they go to Reddit to see what the hell is hot, and that's how they sometimes determine what they cover for their media outlets. So don't be that stiff PR person to go in there and, hey, look at my game, here are the core features, that type of thing. But go in there, be you, and you're a game developer. Just be like, this is who I am. I'm a developer. I care a lot about this game. I want you to check it out, and here's why. We'll go into setting that sort of like pitch up. But definitely communicate out. Reddit, IndieDB is very important, especially for setting up downloadable builds of your game, running closed betas, building a community. It's so important when you leading up to global launch, and all of that just takes really solid communication, and some of that you need to plan for. Touch Arcade forums for mobile games, incredibly important, and social media, obviously. Don't really need to drive into that. In the mobile space, the single probably most important thing to your success in terms of the launch is trying to get that feature spot. Especially being an indie, it's hard to get the attention of Apple. These guys, they have all the big publishers basically visiting them and having regular meetings and getting feedback on how to improve the game and making it perfect for mobile, making it high quality, all of that leading into featuring. But as an indie, it's tough to get into that, especially if you don't live near Cupertino, where you can actually meet them face to face or network with them at events. Right now they changed it. It used to be algorithms driven, so user acquisition. They spend $1 million into a game to acquire users and all this stuff, and then it would appear, featured essentially up on the front page. No longer. Apple did away with that, which I think is great. They actually have a team of people, real human beings, that actually go through quality games, and they choose what they think is awesome, and they put it up there. Again, a lot of that is driven by meetings and by getting to know these people, but a lot of it they also discover on their own, and I think puts emphasis back on PR and doing some pre-launch stuff. In mobile games, again, it's limited, especially with free-to-play, but if you can do up some previews and creating some awesome teaser trailers and stuff like that helps to build buzz and gets the attention, potentially get the attention of Apple, it could lead to a featuring because they may just come across it by reading about it on Touch Arcade or some other site. So really important. And then also, once the feature's gone, then what? I mean, your downloads are going to tank, right? You're not spending $1 million like some of the other a month like some of the other companies do to buy users and convert them and all this stuff. So that's when PR, I guess, gets really important again. It's about building a brand. I mean, you're gonna live another day to create another game. And when you do, creating that sort of foundation for your studio, like building brand, building trust for your studio so that you recognize it's going to keep people coming back, hopefully. So that's why I think PR is at least important from the very beginning, especially for your studio, but also for you as a personality, as a person. So think about how PR can work for you as an individual. In the case of PC games, so Steam is different. There's a lot of hissing in this mic. I apologize. But in the case of Steam, so this is a bit more algorithms driven from what I understand. They don't have people that are selecting games to feature. This is right out the gates. If you launch your game and the metrics are good and the downloads and the community engagement, all that stuff's good, you're going to be up here. And the better you do, the more you're going to be up and the longer you're going to stay. That's my understanding. So in this case, especially putting aside free-to-play PC games for now, with core games, it's everything you do leading up to it and building that buzz so that you get as many downloads on day 1 and day 2 as possible, combined with the rest of your marketing effort, is going to hopefully lead to great downloads and hopefully feature positioning. When you get there, you're going to get more downloads and hopefully stay there. So especially with PC games, downloadable, with paid games, I can't stress enough how important PR will be in building that community leading up to launch day. All right, so let's take a deeper look into PR as a practice. Like, what is PR's role in your company, for your game, your studio, for yourself? First of all, what the hell is PR? There's a famous person, somebody pretty well known, once said that PR is the difference between a squirrel and a rat. Obviously, I think the squirrel has good PR representation, maybe. No. Really the same thing, right? Two rodents, one climbs trees, though. I don't know what difference is, but one does good PR. No, but more seriously, public relations is a strategic communications process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. This is like the stiff definition from Public Relations Society of America, but I felt it's important to include because you don't see anything in there about coverage, right, or press releases. Those are all outcomes and tactics. The higher level is strategic communications process, and that's something that all of us can apply to what we do, both as an individual and a studio. So let's drill into that a little bit more, especially with regard to the press releases. So PR is not an acronym for press releases. Yes, I mean, you won't believe, I hear from people who email me and say, hey, could you write some press releases for us? Yeah, sure. You don't want to pay me for that, though. Certainly, I'm proud of my writing skills. We take pride in just the attention to detail and sort of creating these formal documents, I guess, sort of the stiff part of PR. And it's important, but certainly you can find examples online and do it yourself as well. So just know that that's a small component of it. Press releases don't get you coverage, right? That's the factual presentation of the news that you're trying to distribute. Something that a reporter can read that cuts through all the bullshit so they can write the story for their audience. So that's essentially what press releases do. People talk about the demise and death of press releases. Yeah, nobody reads press releases. When was the last time you read a press release? They're terrible. They're not fun to read. But they are supposed to be factual-based presentations for reporters. So again, there's no marketing bullshit on it. Just the facts. What's the price? Is it available? What is the news? So that the reporter can then translate it and create their own story for their audience. That's the whole point of the press release, and it's great for you to link to. So again, it's sort of official, right? Putting a stake in the ground. This is the news. It's formal. 5 years from now, somebody will be able to still read it. You can put it on your website, and it's a nice reference point for that. Keep it clear, concise, simple. Don't if you say the same word twice in the press release, cross it out for every occurrence afterwards. Less repetition. Get straight to the point. Present the facts. That's what it's all about. In terms of whether you should distribute that over a third-party wire service, like Business Wire, PR News, it's charged like $1,000, $1,500 for 99% of you guys in the audience. Don't waste your money. Sure, you put it out over that wire service, and all right, Yahoo News reposted my press release. Nobody's reading that. That's just an automatic post in the back pages of the dark web that nobody even comes across, right? So put it up on your own website. Create your own press section. Put the press release there. Because next thing you know, if you're trying to attract, investment, or you're trying to talk to a publisher, what are they going to do? They're going to go to your website. You're like, all right, what kind of news have they been distributing? And that reflects on you as a professional studio and whether they want to invest in you or not. So having that as a reference point is very good. And just creating its own page so that you can link to it. Because when you reach out to press with your own personalized pitch over email, you're going to then be able to just link to, hey, check out the press release here. Hyperlink over to it. Then they can then you can keep your email super short. You're not making this long thing. Don't copy paste press releases in your email. That's terrible. Just link over to it. So if they need that reference point, it's there. That's why press release is important. But how you should use it, especially as an indie. It's not about don't go spend money to actually distribute a press release. PR is definitely much more than press releases. There's examples there. This is our own news wire thing. We don't offer it outside of our services or our clients, but it's got press releases on there that you can use as a reference point. How should I write my press release? Find a similar mobile game or a PC game, and just follow it and look at the headline, how it's presented, the subhead, and how it's structured. And hopefully we'll find some good examples there to help you write your own press releases in the future. So I offer that up. So PR, going on to the next subject. So it's really just all about effectively telling a story, right? No matter what channel you use, there should be a story there. There should be something that really captivates the audience that you're trying to engage. Looking into the processes of PR, starting out, it's thinking about PR in advance. It's going to help you think about what kind of process you're going to undertake to get to your end goal, whether it's selling more games or having your studio acquired or whatever it might be. Thinking about PR early is going to create this process of, all right, here's my audience, here's my targets, here's how I need to get there, here's how I need to communicate out. To do that, obviously you need to solidify your key messages, is what we call it. So really the first thing we do, number one, first thing I need to do if you guys are ever talking to me is I want to play your freaking game, right? I don't even want to talk anymore beyond that besides I got to check out your game first if I'm going to even think about helping you out. But that leads to key messages. So, especially if you've been working on your game, you're passionate about it, if it's a complex game, you could probably write a novel about it, about how awesome it is. But nobody wants to hear that, especially if you're going to communicate out to reporters or even YouTubers or streamers. They have maybe 2 seconds of attention span to read your email, to understand, to think whether or not they even want to take a look at it. So really distilling this down into what are a few of those really important key message points. And really I've seen no more than, we don't do anything more than 5 bullet points. It might be as few as 2 or 3. Really what makes it interesting, what makes it different. PR also helps to define your brand. I talked about this earlier, but sort of building your presence, your voice. PR can help do that for you, especially if you're working with reporters. There's a sense of legitimacy there. People are writing and saying awesome stuff about you or your game. That can go a long ways. But obviously, in some cases, what they say doesn't really matter as much as what gamers think, and that's why direct communication channels like forums and Reddit and Let's Play videos on YouTube are very important. It supports the marketing plan. So PR isn't, don't just hire only PR and forget everything else. It's really not going to succeed. So you really need to focus in on how it folds into everything else. And overall, it can help with things like organic lift, which is people just discovering your game on a whim because they read about it or heard about it through maybe a journalist site, or maybe you use the reviews on your App Store description. That could help actually get people to want to try it out and spend time. And then corporate communications. So it sounds kind of stiff, but it's about the key stakeholders. What I mean here, like for example, you're looking for a publisher deal. If you have a couple of good trade articles on Gamasutra or GamesBeat or Games Industry International that interviewed you, and you had something interesting to say or perspective on the industry that makes you what they call a thought leader, they might be more inclined to actually invest in you because they see that you're a smart person, you know what you're talking about. Certainly think about PR and how it can support that effort as well. A lot of people think of PR as sort of spin masters. It's far from that. It's really anything but. It's everything about just getting ahead of any sort of potential negative outcomes is the thing. You can't anticipate a shit show to happen some point later. But things happen. And so PR can help you prepare for that, especially if you know your game could be controversial. Or if you might be controversial in some reason. So if that's the case, it's anticipate it. Think about the important things you need to say and what messages you need to stick to. And that'll help you get through some of those tough times. Certainly being transparent and truthful, as Armin mentioned, that's everything, especially as a studio. Being 100% honest with your audience, being you, being a human being is the most important thing you could do. And that's also what PR is about. We mentioned negative perceptions. I kind of got to speed things up here real quick. But, PR is really about building that foundation for marketing. Again, media relations, it's supporting advertising. Again, you get a 5 out of 5 on Touch Arcade or on PC Gamer for your game. You might be able to use that in your advertising potentially. If you're running an ad campaign, PC Gamer says, my game kicks ass. Obviously, you got to pay them for it. Definitely pay Touch Arcade if you're going to use their quotes. Contact them for that, help them out. PR can support advertising that way. Content marketing, so blog posts, right? But also social media, event marketing. PR fits into all these things. Search engine marketing, so getting placements with media outlets. These stories are gonna appear when somebody Googles your studio's name or your game, and that can help tip somebody over to actually want to buy your game and want to actually talk to you as a studio. And also for yourselves, don't forget, like in your professional career, you're developing a brand for yourself as well. What is your image? What are you trying to convey out there? Being honest to yourself, obviously remember that. But over time, like you're gonna build a career. Who knows what you're gonna do next? And you want people to be able to look through your history and everything that you've done, and whether it's hiring you or wanting to work for you or whatever it might be, PR can help to support all of that. So keep all that in mind. Now, what PR doesn't do? Well, it sure as hell doesn't polish turds. So like it's been really reinforced throughout the conference. Make an awesome game first and foremost. If it's not ready, don't invest PR into it. Don't try to blow it out with PR. Try to pitch it over to reporters and stuff. And also, certain type of games just isn't going to resonate with reporters. It's just not what they do as critics. But it doesn't mean it's not an awesome game that it can't succeed. So think about Let's Plays, or if you're creating some poker game for mobile or something. You know what? It might make a whole lot of money, but no reporter's going to write about that. They don't want to tell that. There's no story there. So just do what you do. Think about how those channels can benefit you and what's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. It's what it really is at the end of the day. And you should, and as Rami was mentioning, when you're asking for feedback on your game, you should ask that of the PR person as well. Again, the PR person should be asking you, let me check out your game, right? Because I'm not going to pitch something I've never seen before. I want to play the thing, even if I take it on. If it sucks, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, like, look, this game isn't going to work out. No reporter wants to write about this, but you might be able to do this and this and still succeed. Like, no offense. I understand maybe what you're trying to do here, but maybe PR isn't the right strategy. Sometimes no PR, or at least no reporter engagement is the right strategy. Sometimes doing no outreach there is good, and focusing on other channels, direct community, social media, Let's Plays, is going to benefit you better. Also, it's not a user acquisition strategy, especially if you're in the free-to-play space. I don't know, I hate that word, but it doesn't fill seats, and it alone is not going to drive downloads for you. Again, you have to think of it as a full package with your marketing plan that Sarah touched on. And that's what's going to bring people to it. First and foremost, have a great game, but PR is more about the discipline of communicating it out. But then everything else, like advertising, is going to help build awareness. Community helps build a user base for you and puts a personality on your brand. All that stuff goes together. Plus, nobody wants to watch England versus Norway. Am I right, Sweden? Yeah? All right. Really quick, targeting. No, reporters are not going to write about your game because you took them out to lunch. All that's bullshit. They don't have time for that. Digital media is too fast. They're trying to write as many stories as they can because advertising sucks. They're not generating any revenue. Unless you're working for maybe IGN or Kotaku, who's part of Gawker. If you're a freelancer, think about it this way. I mean, are they going to review your game, spend 20 hours on your game? Maybe they can make a $200 check for writing that story. Do the math. It sucks. And a lot of those guys are going to YouTube as well to do Let's Plays because they actually generate decent revenue there. There's great engagement. But we have to think about is how you package your story for them. What is the story? What is the hook? You have to learn about the reporter. You have to read their stories. Follow them on Twitter. You really get to know their personality. Every reporter's on Twitter. Right? If they're not on Twitter, there's something wrong because they are storytellers, and Twitter is their channel to actually be free and actually talk to anyone they want. So follow them. It's easy to do. A couple quick things to think about. Who is your audience? Which outlets are going to drive your sales? Make sure you research and read. Read. Chris really drilled into this the other day. Read, the top 5 publications of your time. Rami mentioned Gamma Sutra. You have to read Gamma Sutra. Games Industry International might be another one. But read Kotaku because those guys are not afraid to give you feedback and call bullshit. So definitely read into that. Read Polygon for its high quality long form articles. These guys know their shit. Read. But also every now and then go pick up ESPN or Guns and Ammo or whatever it is. Like get outside your box, see what else is out there. You might be reading Guns and Ammo and find out, hey, this guy loves video games. All right, maybe he might actually like my new FPS or something. I don't know. But new opportunities will open up. So expand your horizons, watch movies, listen to different kind of music, everything. And that's how you're going to get to know what reporters cover and what makes headlines. How are they writing? So you can actually present your game in a way that's going to get covered. Again, use Bolo to find those targets, research. There's media lists out there, especially from some of the big conferences. Ask your friends who go to those who have exhibited in the past. There's references from previous years. They have email addresses. Do not spam those. I mean, it happens. Do not do it. It's a terrible thing. You're going to basically get blacklisted by reporters. They're going to hit spam. Your emails are never going to hit their inbox again. Next time you actually have a game that they give a shit about, they're not going to see it. And that's going to be an unfortunate thing for you. So target. Only pitch stuff that you know that they've written about or will likely find interesting based on what they read. No junk mail, no spam, please. All right, so the final section, I'm going to be wrapping up in like 2 minutes. Key messages, crafting a pitch. So saw Chris a couple days ago. There's some really great pictures of Chris online, by the way. Recommend you do a quick Google image search there. Picked a good one, though. But he really drilled onto one thing that I want to reinforce, which is the hook. As you need to find the hook for your game, if you're pitching it to a publisher or whatever, you need to have a hook for reaching out to reporters, to YouTubers, whatever, anyone who might actually care about what you have. And you need to drill into what is it, what's special about the execution. That's really important. You have to show, right, what makes it great, what's the unique value proposition. What are the core features? Yeah, list it out. I mean, it's important, but why should anyone care? This is the biggest question. Why would anybody care about what I'm trying to send out? Again, putting yourself in the position of the gamer, of the audience that the reporter's trying to write to. Think about the hook. What does that headline look like? Start with the headline that you would actually want to see, that you would actually click on, and work backwards from there. Everybody's got ideas, right? We've heard this a few times. Ideas, dime a dozen. But it's in the execution. And so PR, what's really important there are the assets. You need to show how you executed better than anyone else before you, right? Nothing's original anymore. Everything's inspired. But how are you doing it better than everything that came before? So you got a new game that's got some guys that kill ghosts and hunt them down and trap them, and you got a big marshmallow man at the end that you're going to fight. Well, that sounds ridiculous. But you know what? When you actually see it in action, it's freaking awesome, right? So show that in assets, in a trailer. Put resources into creating an awesome teaser trailer that sets up the story but doesn't show the gameplay. Then giving little teasers later that shows the gameplay mechanic that goes in line when you're starting to do previews, when you're actually showing demos of the game early to reporters a couple of months before it launches. And in that way, you're going to build out the buzz and you're going to build out trust that what you're creating is awesome. And the reporter's actually going to keep clicking your emails and wanting to open it and hear from you and be inclined to cover it when it launches. This is especially true for core premium games, especially in PC. Mobile free-to-play, it's a bit limited earlier on, but still the assets are really, really important to set you apart from everything else. All right, and finally the pitch. Now, again, just a really quick run through, know what they find interesting. The subject line, this is really the most important part. Start there. Don't start with the pitch first. Again, the headline. What is that subject line? When they open their inbox at 9 in the morning, there's 500 emails in there. Why is it they're going to click on yours, right? Think of it in that way. That subject line has to pull them in. So putting something interesting there. If they've never heard of you or your studio, don't put your name or your studio there. Talk about somehow position what makes your game unique or something in that subject line. But it's got to be short, right? Because the text falls off. So really spend some time on focusing on that and then develop your pitch out. Get to the point, skip the pleasantries. Hey, how you doing? It's been a long time. No, just get straight to it. Cut the bullshit. They don't have time for that. You want to open your email, read exactly what it is that you have to offer them that's different, that's unique, and really it's 2-3 sentences. Those are the most effective pitches. If it's 2 paragraphs long, they're not going to read your second paragraph anyway. So just cut it out and refine that first one. 2-3 sentences in the first paragraph, call to action. You need to respond to me now because I got a launch date in 2 weeks. If you don't respond to me now, you're going to miss this opportunity. Think of it in that way. It is an opportunity for them as well to cover a good story. That's the whole purpose of outreach and PR, especially with media. So remember that. You're in every right to reach out and present good stories that hopefully help build their audience and to help engage your audience. Being concise, 100% honest, transparency, and be prepared. Don't waste time. Sarah drilled into this too. But if you're going to reach out and offer them an interview, don't be going on vacation for the next week. And all right, well, let's reconnect in a couple weeks. Or hey, I'm still working on that video action. Let me get it to you in a couple days. No, they're going to move on. They don't have time for that. If you're going to offer them something, be ready to go 100%. So put all your ducks in a row first. And again, being timely, reaching out in advance. So giving them enough time to set up their story. It takes time to write a story. So reaching out in advance, using embargoes, exclusive, all that stuff. There's some examples online about what not to do. So bad pitch blog is great. They basically tear apart PR people's pitches. I mean, PR is a job, and there's people that fall into it and just like, oh yeah, it sounds cool. I'll do PR for games, but have never played a game in their life. Well, those emails come out, and when it gets a games journalist inbox, they rip it apart. So number one, hire a PR person that knows games. But two, there's some great examples of really shitty PR pitches here, things not to do. So review that. Deadspin, PR dummies. Again, some really bad pitch examples to learn from. Timing, and finally in-house versus outsourced. I think these slides are going to be made available somewhere. I can send it to you also directly. I'm easy to find. But this is a breakdown. So, as an indie, you have very limited budget. How are you going to spend that? Well, you can do PR internally. Hopefully a lot of this gets you thinking about how you can do it yourself. You can hire somebody in to handle social media, maybe help you on the PR pitch front to doing the research and everything. Or you can hire a freelancer, a one-person shop that might be more resourceful and help on a lower budget just to get some good pitches out, help you with some basic strategy, and on to sort of the bigger stuff. Bigger teams who can bring more experience and more advice to the table, all that sort of thing, all the way up to the really big dogs that go off the chart there that we don't have to talk about. And that's really it for the presentation. The key takeaways. I'm going to wrap up with that. Let me know if you have any questions after this. I don't think we have time for Q&A, but I'm available till 3:30 today. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time.